Okay, going to test to make sure audio is working. Welcome if you've just joined us. I'm just setting up the tech to get stuck in, which we will do very shortly. Hopefully that gives us better sound. Let's see what happens. Cool. Seems to be working. Okay, I can see a few people are hopping on to the training, guys. Welcome. We're going to get started in like 3 minutes. Just let us know that you've got audio loud and clear, guys, by just punching into the chat that audio is good. Awesome. Thanks, Mitchell. All right. Feel free to let us know where you guys are located. I'm guessing, based on the fact that we've got one built for US and UK happening a bit later on today, so that it's at a more reasonable time for them. I'm guessing that most people are going to be Australia, New Zealand on this call. So just let us know where you're based. Okay. Helen, Fleurieu Peninsula, South Australia. Awesome. Welcome. Cool, guys. Well, let's get stuck in. What I'm going to do is have a look at. Feel free to have a look at this page. Obviously, the page you're watching the video is the one I'm going to give the presentation on. Feel free to punch questions into the chat box at any time if you've got any questions that you want to go through. What I've got here is just a reference link to our Profitable Designer Mastermind. Feel free to have a look through the content here. As we're chatting, I'm going to go through a couple of the case studies and some of the results that our students have had and how they were able to get those results. So this is a good kind of reference document. But what we'll do is we'll get stuck straight in, guys. So what I'm going to do first is just take you through fundamentally why you should even be considering this advice. So I've built an $80,000 a month design business. At the moment, for the last couple of years, it runs at about $50,000 per month. I bounce between Australia and the UK, hence why there's a couple of live webinars today. Because, yeah, I've got a British fiance, British family, and we travel between the two countries. Obviously, because of that reason, don't really want a brick and mortar design business. $80,000 per month when you have a couple of in house designers and engineers can be pulled off, but as soon as you're remote, not as manageable. So it averages about $50,000 per month currently. Okay. This last year generated over 451 calls for the design business. A lot of that came from LinkedIn outreach. A lot of it came from paid traffic as well. So this is just last year's paid traffic numbers, $77,000 this year, $68,000 up until August, not to mention YouTube ads and Google ads as well. Okay, so the big thing that I want you guys to understand is that it's not just the results that I've got here, it's really the results that I've been able to take and help other people within their design businesses in interior design, graphic design, web, architecture, animation, anywhere where somebody's selling business to business or business to consumer design services, we've been able to fundamentally help. Okay, so people like Heather, first month in the program, homeschooling children as well, $20,000 a month, selling web and branding. Matt, selling branding as well, package branding, came into the program, built a new offer, closed $10,000 project, upped it to $20,000, now operating at about $26,000 to $27,000 per project. Chris, graphic designer as well, really struggling to charge more than $1,500 to $2,000 for his expertise. Was able to come into the program, first project, closed at $12,000 project, which ended up turning into a $51,000 engagement. We're going to take you through the mechanics of how that was able to occur. Braden as well, in the same space as me, product/industrial design. One of the first clients and projects he brought into the program, $48,000 proposal closed. Jonathan works specifically with like visualization services, so design and visualization for NASA and big US government funded agencies. One of his first projects, $107,000 as well. Louise, who's based in Melbourne, Australia as well, able to increase our average customer value by $10,000 just through a couple of the tweaks that we're going to show you in this training as well. The biggest and most important thing to take into account here, and this is probably the most important thing that I want you to take away in regards to, like, if there's one piece of advice that you want to think about, is that you need to answer this question. Why should I invest my money with you over all of the other options I have, including doing absolutely nothing? Okay, this is the question that your clients ask the minute that they're starting to consider whether they're going to be spending money with you or not. The reason most designers struggle to charge what they're worth, struggle to succeed in their business fundamentally, is because they haven't got an answer that goes deeper than my experience, my personality, my love for design, my ability to deliver on time. And the problem with that is that if you can't answer this question, prospects can't take you seriously. right? Because you're just fundamentally communicating that you're a creative cost instead of an actual investment. And, the key to business is to, make more money than you spend. And if you can't communicate how you can help the bottom line of the business or at least solve a big problem, then you're a cost. And this is why most designers don't get taken seriously, which is exactly why they can't get prospects on the phone. So most designers eventually realize that they need to market themselves. They need to go beyond relying on word of mouth and referral and their immediate network. And when they start to connect with people outside of their network, they can't get people on the phone. Why? Because nobody's taking you seriously because you haven't answered this question. All right. And then if you're lucky enough to get people on the phone and you get excited about a new prospect or opportunity coming into the pipeline, the minute that you drop what you think you're worth, you can't convert them because, again, we haven't answered this question. All right. And because none of this is working, you don't know what works. So you try to do everything. All right. These are the big four killers to design business profitability, which leaves most designers pretty much just competing for scraps because they haven't articulated their value. They haven't got a way to consistently book calls. They're not confident in the sales process and they're continually just trying tactic after tactic. It means that they have to compete in a very low value market for pittances. And you'll continually get asked, oh, I can get it cheaper with my cousin, or we can get it cheaper on Fiverr, or I don't see the value in this, we're going to hold off. Okay. The key to taking like substantial steps forward in your design business is answering this question. All right. So that's what we're going to do. And this is by far the most important part of the training is just answering this. And when you answer this, you'll build a powerful offer that no one has but you. Okay. So what we're going to do is just get stuck into how to build an offer like this. Hi, John Citizen. Hopefully that'd be great if that was your real name. But guys, just double checking, audio's all good. We'll just keep continuing. I shot one of these a couple of months ago, and the audio wasn't connected. No, the visuals weren't connected for the first 5-10 minutes. So I just want to double check, make sure everything's all good. Perfect. Cool. So the first key to making a design business profitable, powerful offer that no one has but you. Okay. And this is what we call package knowledge. This is how we think about it. All right. So the first requirement of building a package knowledge offer is this. It's just understanding that if you're to look back through all of your past clients, I'm sure you've had great projects, you've had okay projects, and you've had a lot of terrible projects where you haven't got paid enough, the client's been a pain, there's been too much feature creep, you know, arguments happen, there's miscommunication about things. Well, what you'll find is that what you're able to charge and your definition of great project generally is directly connected to the difficulty of the problem that you solve. So if you're to look back through all your best projects, the best projects are the ones where you are helping solve the biggest problem. And the decision maker, the person who paid you, saw the biggest possible problem that you were solving for them. They saw the value in what you were doing. Well, if this is the case, then we can see here that there's no point, positioning ourselves as a generic designer who, works with everyone, like a generalist selling generalist services, because we've proven that there's only a few people that warrant us spending more time and getting paid valuably for it. Okay, so what most designers do is they position themselves as generalists. What we should be doing is specializing around the bigger problems that we can solve. Okay, so that's step number one to building a really powerful offer. Step number two is this, to understand that every client that comes to you has a specific problem that they're looking to solve and they're looking to move away from it, which can be, represented here by this blue dot. What they're trying to move towards is a measurable result. So there's a specific result in their mind that they're trying to achieve. And in paying you, they're hoping that you can help contribute towards that result. What happens is that most designers understand potentially what this problem is, and what they offer is, hey, I can do design for you. And this is literally what 99% of designers sell because we're designers who sell design services. The problem with this is that very, very rarely is this the thing that the actual client is looking for. They're looking for a specific result. So nobody hires a website designer because they just want a great website. It's connected to a particular result they're trying to achieve. Okay. And the reason that a lot of designers really struggle to justify charging what they think they're worth is because they leave this big leap of faith here, which means that once the website's done, once the branding's done, once the product design's done, once the animation's done, the client has to then go figure out what to do with this design deliverable to actually go get a meaningful and measurable result. Okay. How many clients do you think, if you told them right at the start that, look, all you're getting is design and I can't get this result, how many of them would move forwards? None of them. They all hire us because they're hoping we can get them closer to this result. So, the best thing to do is to first pick the biggest and most valuable problems that you can solve in your marketplace based on your understanding of industry and figure out, okay, if I went beyond design, what additional steps would I need to take to help them with to maximize the likelihood that they succeed at achieving this measurable result? Okay, if it's the person that's hiring you for websites because they want to drive more local traffic, then website design plus something else that gets the website in front of more, local people. Okay. Understanding and identifying what these steps are that you could, build into your offer in order to contribute towards this greater result. Okay. This is what we call advisory. So this is where you would physically do stuff, your design labor, and this is what you would advise on in regards to pointing them in the right direction so that they could take your design deliverable. All right. Then all we have to do is combine this advisory with our design services. So now we've got one package knowledge offer that takes people all the way from the start of the problem to the measurable result that would lead them to engage us to start with. Okay. Eliminating all of the leap of faith. This leap of faith here is what prevents people from A, moving forwards with you, B, paying you what you think you're worth. All right. The minute that I did this and started asking myself, okay, well, what is it that my clients really want? My best paid design clients all wanted to take a product and get it to market successfully. Okay. So when I did this, I was able to increase my average customer value by 5 times. Why? Because I figured out who my best clients were, who was actually paying me the most money, what their overall outcome and the result they were trying to achieve. And instead of just selling design services, helping them with the manufacturing and packaging, helping them and pointing them in the right direction for setting up logistics, and helping them with a basic commercialization strategy so that they could go sell the product that we designed together. Okay. Matt and Lisa, this is exactly how they went from being struggling to charge $5,000 per project, closing $10,000 projects, up to $20,000 projects. Like I said, up to $26,000 and $27,000 packages now. How? By figuring out who their best customers were, what that big problem was, what that result was that they're trying to contribute towards, and instead of selling just design services, figured out what needed to be added to increase the likelihood that these people got to this result. Chris, who we mentioned before, struggling to charge $1,500 for his expertise, very quickly closed a $51,000 engagement. How did he do that? By figuring out where his best clients came from, trying to find more of them instead of just selling communication design, helping them with the additional steps required to achieve the overall outcome that would lead them to engage to start with. Okay, Alyssa and Michelle, exactly the same. Increase the average customer value, like you can see here, by I think 5 or 6 times as well. Okay, how did they do that? By doing exactly the same thing. They were web and branding, selling web and branding packages to female entrepreneurs. They figured out what their clients actually wanted to do, generate sales opportunities and get their first clients. A lot of startup female entrepreneurs. Okay, so solving the whole problem instead of just selling web design and branding design. Help them identify their unique selling proposition and help them with a very simple Facebook outreach technique. Okay. When you focus on your best customers, their biggest problem, and instead of just selling design, you sell beyond design to solve the whole problem, you can answer this question. Why should I invest my money with you over all the other options I have, including doing absolutely nothing? Well, because it's the biggest problem that you're currently running into, and because I'm not just a designer. I'm going to move beyond design and help you to get to the end result. I'm taking on more responsibility and helping you with the entire transition instead of just looking good or the design component. Cool, guys. So feel free to let me know if you've got any questions. I'm happy to have any questions fired through now. I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask questions at the end of the call. Anyway, does that all make sense in regards to how we build out a package knowledge offer? Awesome. Cool. Well, I'll keep going. Feel free to ask questions. I'll keep coming back and checking. Um, Second key to making any design business profitable is the ability to get prospects onto the phone. Okay. So this is obviously really important because without getting people on the phone, where are our opportunities going to come from? So step two is opportunity control. And this is really what most people's strategies look like anyway. It's connect with people, find them on email, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, start a conversation, ask a few questions to qualify. If they are potentially a good fit, get them to book a time into our calendar and obviously run into a sales presentation with them. In regards to paid advertising, which it can be represented with the red dots, Facebook or Google Ads, generally what people do is push them to a website that shows their portfolio of work and just pray or hope that, they'll book a time and then we can speak to them in a call. Why do most designers struggle to move people from left to right? If you've tried a bit of marketing outreach yourself, connecting with people on Facebook or LinkedIn, or you might have even tried paid ads, why do most people not get more people on the phone? Because they haven't answered this. Why should I invest my money with you over all the other options I have, including doing absolutely nothing? If you can't answer this, you're not giving people a reason to even engage you to start with, because you're just communicating that you're a designer like the designer they already know. Everybody has a designer. Like, there's that many designers in the world now, and that's why we were talking about the idea here of the vulture. You're competing against people that already have a go-to designer, which means that you have to be by a factor of 3 or 4 times more valuable to them to get them to move away with somebody that they're comfortable working with. Most people don't answer this question. Therefore, you're never going to be able to break into other people's networks. Okay. But the minute that you answer this question, you solve the biggest problem that specific person has. And instead of selling design, you sell a solution to a problem where they can see a linear, path from where they are now to where they're trying to get to. Then people are willing to speak to you, right? People are willing to respond to your message because you're now talking about a result and a solution to a problem instead of just another designer selling design services, right? They're willing to give you responses. They're willing to book a time because now you're talking about the result they want, not design one of the steps to get where they want, right? Same with Facebook and Google Ads. Instead of talking about, hey, interested in design, do you need design? Hey, interested in this result, interested in solving this specific problem? Cool. Well, come have a look at this video case study where we talk you through how we've solved this problem for other people, the results they've got. And if you like that, feel free to book a time to speak. Okay. This is how to get marketing to work. It's to fix what you're actually selling at the start. Most people think you can just bolt marketing and sales strategy onto any business model and it's going to improve it. Only if the product or service justifies why it's important. This is why you need to answer this, right? You think this every time you're making a purchase decision. And the minute that somebody gives you a good answer to this, you're happy to buy it. Okay? So, when you focus on this, when you focus on solving a big problem, when you focus on selling more than just design, and you focus on actually helping them get a result, then you'll start to see some good numbers. Okay, these are the KPIs that we move for in our mastermind training program. So reaching out to 500 people to get either 100 people, in a conversation with us, or watching our video case study if it's paid traffic. Out of those 100, getting 10 people to book. Out of those 10, probably 4 to 5 of them being an ideal fit, and being able to close 2 of those into a sales call. Okay, if you are solving the biggest problem you possibly can, and you're not just selling design, you're selling everything required to get them to a measurable result, you'll be able to charge at least $5,000, which means that 2 clients per month at $5,000 per project. This is a $10,000 a month design business model. Okay, simple math. For most people who are charging $1,500, $2,000, that's a lot of marketing and sales that they have to conduct because they've got 5 clients. But and it's very simple math, obviously. We all know this, but if you increase the average customer value, the amount of marketing and sales that you have to do dramatically diminishes. This is why it's so important to build a really powerful offer at the start. Okay, so if you want to scale from this point, all you have to do is very simply, if you want to double the revenue, roughly all you have to do is double the outreach. Connect with double the amount of people, double the amount of conversations or people watching the video, double the amount of bookings, double the amount of calls. Okay, double again, double again, double again, double again. Okay, this is very simply how I was able to build an $80,000 month just by understanding the relationship between how many people I had to reach out to in order to get enough people on the phone in order to close enough projects. Okay, this is how Heather was able to hit a $20,000 month in her first month, because she very quickly realized, every 87 people I connect to, I speak to them on the phone and I'm closing 50% of the calls that I speak to. Now I'm just going to plan out my month so that I'm hitting up, 42, 43 people every single day. That should get me a call every couple of days. That simple, just using Facebook, Facebook groups. Carrie, doing exactly the same, just building a very simple video case study for interior design services, posting in community groups, and finding a relationship between the amount of posts she needed to do to get somebody onto the phone. The minute that she understood the relationship, between inputs and outputs, she's in control of her business. All right, Alex, exactly the same. Just simply reaching out to people on Facebook and LinkedIn, understanding the relationships between inputs and outputs. Alyssa, Michelle, changing their offer, doing a lot of Facebook organic outreach and a lot of posting, really good on the Facebook platform. The big problem they had is that they weren't answering this question. So we rebuilt the offer to answer this question, and this is literally what happened. Okay, 9 inquiry calls booked in a week when they probably averaged 2 to 3. All right, same with Kurt. Literally came into the program, did his best $8,000 a month within 30 days of being inside. Okay, and Adam as well. All right, packaging designer made his first sale of $8,000 through Facebook outreach by just simply going into a Facebook group, talking about the problem that he could solve and offering value, and understanding a relationship between the amount of posts that he did to get somebody onto the phone. Cool. Does anybody have any questions in regards to what they've seen to this point? Anything around, getting people on the phone, feel free to ask. I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions at the end anyway. I'll give you 10 seconds and then we'll get stuck into the next section. So the next section, sales. The next section after that's productivity, and then we're going to get into some more questions. Cool. So third key to making a design business profitable is the ability to turn calls into projects. Okay, what we call this is sales acceleration, and this is pretty simple. Okay, it's really, these are the 3 rules to succeed at sales. So the first rule is to understand that the reason that people are speaking to you is not because they want design, it's because there's a gap between where they are now and where they're trying to get to. And this is the problem. and it's the measurable result they're trying to achieve. Most designers don't understand this, and because they don't understand this, they talk about design throughout the entire sales process. You have to understand the reason that somebody's speaking to you is because they're here, where they are now, their current situation is blue, where they're trying to get to is red, and they're not exactly where they want to be. And they see your message and they go, that might help me bridge the gap. So understand that the problem gap is what drives the prospect to take action, not their want for design. Really important. Second rule is once you are in a conversation with people, you want to clearly diagnose and separate these two situations. So we want to ask questions so that we can best understand where this person is and where they're trying to get to. So we ask questions like, what motivated you, sorry, to want to chat to me today? What seems to be the big problem that you're running into? How long have you been in business for? What have you tried to do to fix this? What do you want? Where do you want to be in 6 to 12 months from now? And how come you can't figure this out by yourself? What do you feel like you need? What is it that you want my help with specifically? And fundamentally, just asking, do you want any questions answered about, how I work with you? Okay, so you can see by asking these specific questions, what we're doing is developing a better understanding for where they are right now and what it is that they're actually trying to achieve, their desired situation. In asking those questions, we can clearly define where they are now, where they're trying to get to. Then, if they're the right person and we've reached out to the right opportunity where we solve their problem and we've built an offer for them that takes them all the way beyond design to the actual result, step number three, we position ourselves as the bridge between the two situations. Okay, so yes, you're a perfect fit. This is who I help. You're exactly who I help. This is the result that I help other people get as well. Instead of just selling design, we go beyond design and I show you how to use that design in order to get that result. That's how to sell. Why most people can't sell is because they haven't answered this. So the first reason is because they're getting onto the phone with people where it's not the biggest problem the individual or the business is facing. Okay, which means that they're going to be unlikely to invest money in the third biggest problem they've got in their business. Second is you're not justifying how you're different to other designers. Okay, we do this by very simply just providing advisory on top of our design offer. Okay, this is how Alexa able to double her hourly rate by simply just figuring out what her clients actually needed in a sales call instead of just offering design. Okay, Brian, building designer, 3 opportunities that he said would have slipped through his fingers because he didn't know how to effectively run a sales process. Okay, Mario, closing his biggest ever $5,000 sale, but got hit with resistance, but knew how to deal with the objections that were coming up on the call because he understood how to structure a sales process. Okay, so fourth key, it's just the ability to maintain maximum focus. Okay, this is so underrated, but you'll find, and what you'll see here very soon, is that most designers are spread way too thin and scattered in 1,000 different directions, and they spend little to no time focusing on the only really important things in their business. The ability to create amazing value for your best customers, finding the time and the energy to get on the phone with these people, and obviously learning how to close them. Okay, so we call this deep focus, and it's really just this idea here. Okay, you've got this circle here. This circle represents your circle of focus. Okay, so if there's one thing in the circle of focus, then all of your effort, your mental energy, all of your application power goes into figuring out this thing. All right. The minute that you have 2 things in this circle of focus, this is the minute that you are dividing your time in half. So 50% of your effort and attention and mental bandwidth goes to LinkedIn, 50% of it goes to networking. The problem with this is how many people do you know succeed at anything in life whilst half-assing it? How many people have become the best in the world or a leader or a professional at anything whilst spending 50% of their time pursuing some other success path. Zero. Okay, you cannot half-ass success. But what you'll find most designers do is this is like best this is the best possible version for most designers because they're actually doing more than this because they believe they need an ebook. They believe they also need to be rebranding because they're not getting response from the market. They've been told they need a podcast. They've been told if they want SEO to work and they want to be found on Google that they need to have a blog as well. And then, not to mention, you need to start building your online presence with a YouTube channel and demonstrating your authority and running some paid ads. This is why most designers don't succeed, is because they're literally spreading themselves so wide, but only an inch deep. Okay. You got to understand that if you haven't, mastered one thing, let's say LinkedIn outreach, what makes you think you're going to figure out how to master an ebook? Or what makes you think you're going to be able to turn podcast into a revenue stream? What makes you think you're going to get a return on investment for ads? If you can't master one of them, how are you going to master any of them? All right. And this is the big mistake that I made. 5, 6 years ago, spread way too thin, doing everything that the industry told me, very quickly changed the direction I was heading by investing in mentorship and learning to just focus on one thing at a time, master it to a world class level, then move on to the next. So, what I did is that I took all the time I was applying to all of these things, spinning my wheels, went and mastered it, then delegated it and moved on to the next one. Okay, and the next thing that I moved on to was paid ads. All right, just these two moves got me to $80,000 per month. Nothing else. All right. It's focusing on the right things. So, this doesn't mean you can't have all of these things. You can still have all of these things, but you don't need everything at once. You need to focus all of your time on solving one thing at a time and then moving on to the next. The reason that most designers cannot succeed, the reason that they can't maintain focus is because anything that they do here doesn't work. Building or redesigning or rebranding their design business, trying to get people on the phone, trying to run sales calls, they can't get any strategy to work. So it's hard for them to maintain focus because they've got nothing worth focusing on because they haven't proved that anything works. Okay. If you build a powerful offer and then you focus on answering this question that we've just gone through here, then you'll be able to get people on the phone. Then you'll be able to get and turn calls into projects. And then you'll know what works. So you'll just focus on double downing on these three things. Okay. These are the 4 keys: package knowledge, opportunity control, sales acceleration, deep focus. All right. So that's pretty much the whole presentation, guys. What I want to do right now is just quickly ask a couple of questions. So the first, how do you set this all up? You've pretty much got 3 options. The first is to hire individual mentors. This is exactly what I did. Someone with an offer, someone figuring out my marketing strategy, another for my sales strategy. All of these people were outside of the design industry. That's why it worked. Okay, but this cost me like $28,000 to do, and probably 6 months to figure out how to, tie it all together and get it to work together. So that's option number 1. Option number 2 is to combine what you can find online. This is literally what most designers are already doing. This takes months, years, or practically a lot of people never get to it. I speak to people that are 60 years old that have been trying to read stuff on how to grow a design business for the last 40 years, still stuck in the same position. All right. Option number 3, even if you're considering 1 or 2, is to just schedule a free growth call with me and I can walk through it with you together. Why? Because your design business is unique. Okay. It's very hard to produce a training that's built specifically for you because you obviously have a different type of client. What you do for them is different. Your skills and understanding are different. So it's very hard to build that one size fits all blueprint. If I'm just able to ask you a few questions about your business, we're very simply able to identify what these changes are that you need to make. Okay, so what we'll do on this call is I'll ask you 5 or 6 questions, figure out exactly where your winning offer and model is, exactly how to identify a valuable offer and how to improve an offer, exactly what to avoid offering and saying, what platform is best for you to go find leads, whether it be email, Facebook, or LinkedIn, and then what paid traffic avenues as well. And the thing is, we've already helped hundreds of design businesses like yours. Okay, so what you're going to see just below this video, guys, is a link to the mastermind page. These are all of the people that have watched a training like this, decided to book a call, move forwards and work with us, and help them build better offers, better marketing and sales campaigns as well. Okay, so the return on investment of this call for somebody who is a designer making $50,000 per year, let's just say that they're getting 20 projects a year at $2,500 each. What if we were able to help you increase your project value by 10% using what we showed about building better offers? What if we could get 10 times, or 10% more people on the phone? What if we could close 10% more of those opportunities? And what if we could increase your daily effectiveness by 10% by just very simply showing you what to focus on and what not to? All right. You take these very conservative estimates and add them up. This adds up to a $23,000 a year increase. Okay. That is a very conservative estimate. All right. So if you are a good fit, what we'll do is we'll ask you a few questions to make sure that you are. We can walk you through the back end of the program. You can see the syllabus there and a few more trainings on our mastermind program. We obviously work with a designer with a certain type of business model, so this is not for everybody. If this is not for you, we'll still show you. And if you're not a good fit, we're still going to help you out and point you in the right direction. So if that's something that you're interested in, we'll get stuck into Q&As in a sec, but profitabledesigner.com/apply. First in, first served. We're obviously running a call a bit later on today, but it's obviously going to have a few more people in it. We're going to reserve 8 spots for this in the next couple of days. What we're going to do is take you through a free trial walkthrough of this mastermind if you do schedule today. And what we're going to also do is give you a $2,000 discount, coming to the end of the year before we get started in January 1 at the regular pricing again. So for people that book a call today, there's a $2,000 discount on the program. So that's it, guys. Feel free to go to profitabledesigner.com/apply. First in, first served, like we said, but feel free to ask any question you have now. Anything design business related, anything related to how to charge more, to run better marketing campaigns, feel free to fire it through. John asks, how much are people spending on Facebook ads? I would say less than 5% of people in the program run ads. Most people hit their revenue goals and are happy with the level that they're at with just the Facebook, LinkedIn, or email outreach. The reason that that's the case is because we show you how to hire virtual assistants to do your outreach for you after you've gotten reasonably good at it. So I would say maybe just a bit over 5% of people end up running ads because A, they're able to charge more, and B, the amount of people that you need to market to when you're charging $10,000, $15,000 for a project, or even $5,000 a project is far fewer. What is outreach specifically? Well, outreach is really connecting with somebody that you feel like you might be able to help them solve a problem that they're running into in their business or lives. So by literally connecting with someone on LinkedIn or Facebook or finding their email address, from Google Online, we reach out to them and say, hey, look, this is who I am. This is what I help people with. Are you currently running into this problem? Let me know if it's something that you need fixed or you want to chat about it. That's outreach. Feel free to ask your questions, guys. Obviously, a nice small call here. There's currently 8 people on the call. So, feel free. Don't be shy to ask questions, guys. I'm happy to answer anything. Yeah, Helen, lifetime. So when somebody comes into the program, we just give them lifetime access to the training, which obviously gets updated every 6 to 12 months. The 6 hours of group coaching calls per week and one-on-one calls as well. We've obviously got a Facebook group. I don't know how many people are in the group at the moment, but let me just double check. We've got a Facebook group as well, so people get to connect to me personally, so that they've got access to chat and conversation with me. But then we've got a Facebook group here of 152 people as well. And feel free to ask any questions you have, just like Helen has about the mastermind program. For those guys who just want to have a look, there's a bit more training here as well. There's an overview of the page, a recap of the strategy that I've just taken you through here, how the engagement actually works, and then I go into the program syllabus. So these are all the video modules, the 42 hours of content in each of those areas, then just some client testimonials, some results, and a lot of the frequently asked questions that I get asked on calls like this, or when designers are speaking to me as well. Good question, John. Do these core principles differ in their application between design fields, i.e., product versus graphic? Not really. This is, I suppose, this is the core part: is that all businesses are based on the same principles. Like when you think about what a successful business is, a successful business is understanding where status quo is wrong and understanding that there's a better way to do something. So the big tying thing that ties all the designers in the program together is the fact that first they're figuring out who their better clients are instead of just being open to working with everybody, then trying to be more valuable to those better clients by moving beyond how they defined their business previously to a business that sells more than design. And what my job in the program and what the job of the program is to help designers not only change what they're physically doing and what they're offering, but change the way that they're thinking. So they're not, I'm a designer, how do I sell design services? It's more like, what do I need to do to be of the most value to the most valuable people that I've proven that I've worked with? So we all fit under that same format. What we do in the program is obviously help you uncover what are those additional things that we can help you out with. So with Matt and Lisa, we help them build what the back end of this offer looks like. And a lot of people think, oh, is this four times the amount of work? No. 95% of the time still goes into the original design deliverable, because all I'm doing here is connecting them with the best manufacturer based on my expertise, which takes an hour, connecting them with the logistics company that I usually use, and then a commercialization strategy might be a 4 hour or 6 hour consultation to point them in the right direction. 95% of my time still spent here. Okay. Same with Chris. Most of his time was communication design. This USP workshop was a 4 hour workshop he ran. The sales PowerPoint presentation was just a reconnection of the communication design, and he obviously brought in a contractor for the website using what he'd built here. Really good question, though. Thanks. Which method of outreach do you usually recommend starting with, or does it depend on the type of designer you are? Good question, Edward. It's less to do on the type of designer that you are, and it's more on who your best client is. Where can you find a pool of your best opportunities where people with very similar attributes or very similar problems hang out? So, a lot of people, because they're more kind of business to business, find that LinkedIn's better. But if you work with more entrepreneurs or like people that have just got their own business and they're an individual, then you'll find that Facebook's more suitable or email. Like hence, like the reason that you guys are, in this training is because you've seen a Facebook ad of mine. So Facebook is better suited for kind of smaller time individual businesses, and the bigger the business gets, the more like brick and mortar, the more people, then the more likely that LinkedIn is going to be the place to go. Hopefully that answers it. It's definitely dependent though. Let us know what you do, Edward, and I'm happy to provide you with some direction. Do you often encounter a situation where you need to learn outcomes in order to help the client achieve their result? Yeah, absolutely. Um, this is the powerful part, Brendan. Um, is that most people that come into the program don't know what that result is when they come into the program, but we help them identify that result and then confirm that result by fundamentally pre-selling somebody into a packaged offer. So the important thing to understand is that the only way to get market feedback on what that result is that people are looking for is for somebody to invest in it and say, help me out with this. So what we help you do is shorten the learning curve in regards to how to build that additional advisory offer. And what a lot of people in the program find is that just by learning what they learn in the core syllabus here, like in the training program, they're able to build out a derivative, advisory offer to bolt onto their design services that allows them to bridge that gap. But most of the time, where most of your clients need help is distribution. Website designer, how do you distribute the website so it gets in front of more people? Branding designer, how does that branding inflect the sales pitch or the sales presentation so that they can go get investment? Or how does that branding adjustment tie in with the new marketing campaign that they're trying to, spend money on and convert into customers or sales? It's always distribution. So what we do is help you with, okay, how do we help your clients distribute so that they get the end result? Nobody is generally looking for packaging design of their product. They're looking to get that product into stores. So how can you help them with the packaging design and then provide them with a game plan or a path to follow or a roadmap so that they can get that product into stores? Hopefully that explains it, Brendan. Feel free to let me know if you wanted more information on that. Looks like there's more people on the YouTube now on the live than there was at the start. So feel free to keep firing your questions through, guys. Like I said as well, for those people that might have hopped on a bit late, um, I will send out a replay for this tomorrow. But for anybody who wants to chat, we can go through each of these individual things, how to identify where your best winning offer and model is, what to avoid offering and saying in your entire business approach and strategy, what platform's best for you to find leads, and how to build one of these offers. All you got to do is go to profitabledesigner.com/apply. For those people that do, we give you a free walkthrough trial of the masterminds. We also give you a $2,000 incentivized discount on the training program. Oh, nice. Got it. That makes sense. No worries, Brendan. So you're the reason the number's a bit high. Cool. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions they'd like to ask? Feel free. I'll give it like another couple of minutes. If there's not any more questions, then we'll call it a wrap. This is what the apply page looks like, guys, just to let you know. So we're going to do is book a little time here into the calendar. There's a couple of questions as well, just so that we can hit the ground running, and you'll get taken to a confirmation page, and you'll get access to a couple of resources as well to have a read over before we hop on that call. How many different people? 1, 2, 3, 4. Still a few people on, so this. Feel free to ask anything, guys. The questions will not only help you get a better understanding of how to better use this strategy, but also other people as well. So feel free to ask whatever you would like to ask. Edward, clients in my industry, highway design, have long-standing relationships with factories. I've tried offering manufacturing and branding services, and they get cagey. Is this a common problem? Um, Depends how established they are. The the thing is the more established a business is, the less of the problem that you have to solve. So when you get to the size of like MasterCard being your client, they'll literally pay you, $400,000 for a rebrand or $1 million for just a rebrand, nothing else. But as the business gets smaller, the more and more likely it is that the problem's more complex than just the design deliverable. So there's two options there. The first is to get more specific and simple with an offer built for like a reasonably sized eyewear design company, or go to the smaller eyewear companies with a bigger, wider offer where they're probably more receptive to manufacturing and branding services. How big are the companies that you've been reaching out to? Let us know. Um, what percentage of your time should you dedicate to business development versus actually designing? I would say at least 20%, 80%. 20% of the time should be business development, 80% should be actually designing. I do probably 30 or 40, 60, but that's only because I've got people that help me deliver the projects, and I'm like a 10,000 foot view, like project, like manager and creative lead, I suppose. Um, But what's more important than the percentage allocation is the prioritization and what you do first every day. Because most designers will say, oh, yeah, I'll do 15, 20% of the time marketing and like business development and figuring out how to build a better offer. And then they'll they'll put it off until it's the last thing in the day, and then they just won't get around to it. And then they'll do the same thing tomorrow. And then fast forward 3.5 weeks, haven't consistently reached out to the market. The problem with doing it like that, and the problem with not making it your number one priority, is that if future clients aren't your number one priority, in the future you won't have clients. So future clients are always more important than current clients because you've already won current clients. And it's okay if you're busy or if you're late on a project. What's not okay is when you've done a project, you don't have other opportunities to move straight onto. Most designers do they do a sprint instead of just consistently jogging at the same speed for 5,000 kilometers. They do 100-meter sprints, and then they need to walk and puff for a kilometer. You know, when you win a project, it doesn't mean okay, take the foot off the gas. It means keep the opportunities coming in, because one of the things that contributes to the and it's personally contributed to me charging way more than I could charge 5, 6 years ago, is the fact that I'm so busy that I can't work with everybody who wants to work with me. So what do I need? What do I need to do to get some of these people to go away? Jack the prices up, and then some of them are like, "Well, that's ridiculous. I'm not paying that." I'm like, "That's fine. Here's someone else you could go to." But for some of them, yeah, I still think the problem's worth spending that. Cool. Well, now I've got a good problem, because yes, I've got way more work to do, but now I've got the resources to invest in potentially bringing someone in to help me do this, and I've got all this money. That's how businesses grow, by always having pressure on the demand side. Well, Edward, what you have to ask yourself is, if you feel like you're bargaining on their nice, tidy setup and it actually puts them off, you're potentially reaching out to them and saying they've got a problem somewhere where they don't feel like they've got a problem. And that's one of the keys, is that you can't convince people that they have a problem. And you see a lot of designers do this. They're like, "Oh, you've got a branding problem." No, I don't. How can you come back to that? You need to solve a problem that the decision maker experiences, not diagnose a design industry problem, because people don't pay for problems they're not aware of. So, like, to me, going in and saying, "Oh, manufacturing or branding," like, how are you different to their existing options? And how are you different in a way that's 2 or 3x more impactful than their current option? Because if they're to change manufacturers from who they're currently going with, that is a lot of pain to restart and start an engagement with a new manufacturer, when they might have already spent months figuring out how to get that manufacturer to work. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a big commitment what you're doing, and if you're just 20% better than their existing option, it's not going to be enough. Because it's like, if I knocked on your door and was like, "Hey, look at this fridge I've got. It's 20% more energy efficient than yours. It's cheaper, and you can search the internet on the front of the freezer door." You're still not going to buy it. Why? Because you've already solved the problem. You've already got a fridge in your house, and it might not be the best fridge, but it's more convenient to keep that fridge than it is to painfully spend more money and then figure out how to throw that out, but then B, have the risk of that coming in. Hopefully that makes sense. Small clients only pay less if if they can't see the value to pay more. So most of my design clients are individual people, and my average customer value, like this year, it's like $29,000 for design projects. How? Because that's how much value I provide. I don't just help them with design, I get them all the way to the end outcome. So people aren't going to be prepared to pay much for just the manufacturing part, because they feel like potentially they could do that themselves. That's not their ultimate goal. Their ultimate goal, if they're a small company who need the manufacturing, it's really not just the manufacturing, it's probably something to do with the marketing side as well, so that they can actually sell the thing. And if they're a small company, you need to take on more responsibility to earn the same amount of money. Does anybody else have any other questions? We'll keep going for like another 5 minutes if there's questions. Happy to answer anything. Still 10 or 9 people on the call, so yeah, we'll give questions another minute, guys. Again, feel free to book a call if you wanted to talk more specifically about your situation. profitabledesigner.com/apply. That's the link there. Any final questions, guys? Last 20 seconds. My pleasure, Helen. No worries, John. I'm great at what I do, and that is design. I don't have a great many connections with print or other deliverables. Do you suggest ensuring that's in place first? Um, yeah, the problem I find with most people, when people say they're really good at design, it generally tells me that they spent too much time focusing on design and not the business model that allows them to sell the design. You don't need connections with other prints or deliverables. You just need to be consistently reaching out to people. So you don't need a network. The What do I suggest you doing first, Brennan, is building an offer that people will be prepared to invest in. The problem with print is that anything that's print related, people aren't prepared to spend a lot of money on. Why? Because the value of getting some business cards printed or some signage done for a small house, it's like, or like a, like a retail environment, it's not a big enough project. The payoff's not big enough. You need hundreds of print projects a year to do really well. The problem with that is that then you need to do a lot of marketing. How can you take your skills and expertise and overlap it with the bigger problem that the market has? Then you won't need to do anywhere near as much marketing. Cool, guys. Thank you for your time. Hopefully, you've got a lot of value out of this. And yeah, feel free to book a call if you want to continue the conversation. We're getting to the end of the year, but yeah, I mean, January 1 will start up pretty soon again. Where's your offer and business going to be model going to be January 1? That's the big question. Cool, guys. Thank you all. Have a great day, and we might speak soon.